Michael Schumacher threw F1's craziest party. The two brothers left a trail of destruction.
Hey guys, how are you? You're one of the ones that I follow the most, and I really like what you guys do, so you're the first ones to ask, and I think you understand Formula One and maybe what I've done through it. What does that guy do? The one that guy has been there for 30 years, side by side to Todd, Arriva Bene, Binotto, Domenicali. I must have done something right. Don't worry, we'll make it great. No problem. Loyalty is loyalty.
Gino! Vive la France! Follow that card, I cannot go wrong.
Calais, 900 miles, via Geneva, 8-hour leg, 6-hour leg. It's a recipe for success. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Pitstop! We're here. We've travelled thousands of miles for our next guest. Someone that we've been looking forward to for months.
Without a doubt, one of the most influential people at Ferrari ever. Ladies and gentlemen, Gino Rosato. Let's go!
Thank you.
We made it. We're here with you.
Well, I do really appreciate all that. I didn't think you guys were going to do it, but you know, it's not that I want to come up to London, but I don't move off the hill like I call it here very often, and you guys are loyal, really loyal guys. Like I thought you were crazy, but
We came up the hill. Huh?
1,000 kilometers going to do an interview with me. Well, like, you know, I think your parents are going to abandon you guys.
We know so many people have wanted to interview you for a long time, and you haven't wanted to speak to anyone. You've been doing your own thing.
Well, you know, sometimes getting away from something that you've probably the only thing I've ever done in your life, you know, just like stay back from it a little does you good, you know. This is attached to a dream of a kid that was 16 years old. You know, after 50 years old, your dreams maybe start becoming different. I really stayed away from it 2 years. I've been to 3-4 races, and it's fine like that. Go back and see some old friends, and you know, and the ones that I want to see, I'm seeing on the hill here anyways, and. Then you guys, I don't know, like I check all these people following all this. I'm not an Instagram or YouTube specialist, but you guys came across, you're funny guys, you're younger, you're like somewhere the underdog. And you are by far the ones who got on my case and asked me questions that, like, these guys are talking to people in there. I don't know who's telling you what, but...
You've been an elusive man. You've kind of been working in the shadows in F1 for the last 30 years. And you've been on TV and people have seen you, but no one's really, like Jake said, no one's really known what you've done. So we're here today. We want people to know your story, know where you came from. You know, you said we're the underdogs, and you resonate with that. So we want to hear your story about where it all started.
Well, you know, it's funny because, yeah, I did that. I left home against my father's will and climbed this big ladder of dreaming to get to Ferrari. I was obsessed with, you know, posters of Alain Prost in my room and Ferrari and F40, like anyone in the 80s who grew up liking the stuff. And I opened this little possibility of a chance that I had working at a hotel where I was working as a busboy. And this man, Bruno Romani, I got a barbecue exploded on him, went on fire. He couldn't speak English, and the room service, because he had been in the hospital 34 days and he couldn't fly out. And he was staying at the hotel where I was at. And the fact that I spoke Italian, I went to go help him, bring him newspaper, call, you know, his wife, and can you get me gifts for my kids? And I was all day there. And my own father was sick in that period right down the road. And I always had this huge sense of responsibility to this man. I go, hopefully if I help this guy, maybe someone will help my father. It felt it was the right thing to do. So I stayed there even past what the hotel asked me, became friends with him. He had no idea what he had or what he had done, and he had gave me his burnt jacket. I still have the burnt jacket back in Canada.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Wow.
The jacket he burnt in, and that jacket, that barbecue, you know, would end up changing my life. It really did, you know.
So you spent that time with Ferrari, helping them out?
No, I was just in the room. The year after, you had called me, if you want to help, you come to the track and help us. I'm 18, 19 years old at that point.
But they 18. Like you already, no? They've seen something in you by that point because you're just working.
Not really. At that point, I mean, I was dealing with I was the guy, I actually realized in time, like, what did these guys ask me to help? Because I actually realized I was doing all their job, all the stuff you need, from apples to oranges, 10 liters of water, 30 liters of this, all the stuff that the team would need for the first guy to come and get the ball rolling so these guys can work and have a lunch. And that was basically how it started off. And then, make my first contacts with these guys. And that was in 91 or 91, 92, something like that. And I ended up saying, would I be able to come and help at the races? And these guys loved me having around because I was doing all their job. It was perfect. Go ahead, guy. Go stand in the traffic 3 hours. Not, but what did I care? I was, I was close to the cars. I was, it was like, the impossible, But, then I basically took off and trying to see how this whole mechanism works. I ended up doing Monza, end up doing Imola, helping them for security or whatever they needed. Okay, I'll go out and get the stuff. And I'm there driving trucks with no international license, just like risking it all. No visa, no this, but, if I was going to get caught stealing a bank, I wasn't going to get caught stealing a pencil. I mean, I wanted to do I had the full security box on my back. Whatever it took, let's go, And then in 93, I had met Jean Todt, Mairanos, the Dominicalis, oh my God, Freddie Prandini, Neil Conzen, Jean-François Pirou, Arriva Bene, Claudio Berro, Mayor Drag Couture. How I couldn't have got any luckier of having so many people. And these are all people who help, who by giving me a bed, because I had no money. I was flat broke. I used to have big boxes of Kellogg's and eat Kellogg's lunch, noon, and all that. But by the time 6 months came around, I had no money. I was like, you'd be in Europe 6 months, it goes pretty fast. And all these people who took me into their house and who helped me at work and who helped me here, there's so much, so much is said sometimes about how cruel this Formula One world is, but it's also a beautiful, filled up of beautiful people and beautiful stories. And talking about, Jean Lazy, the Lazy family, I was, French, I spoke French, and all this little help of a bunch of people believing in me and liking me and who keep me there in one way, who trying to help me in that way there, and all, this thing to come to life. And then this would come to the attention of Jean Todt. Mr. Todt had to go to Jean Todt had to go to Saint-Tropez. Well, I'll drive him, and the same attitude of whatever it is, And then I slowly explained that I'm a bit broke here, and it's not like I can't take the car. Dude, I have no car. I have no this and all this, and I got closer and closer to Mr. Todt, and the luck that I had, this guy basically took me in. And he was living in this big house, and he goes, well, you can go on the last floor there, and I got it cleaned out, painted, and you couldn't get. This guy started with nothing too. I think sometimes when you're more prone to be attracted to people who have that same story, brought me in. I was fed, taken care of, like, with an immense generosity from that man. That you can use the car, be careful. You can use the bike, be careful. I came from a home, and my father never gave me a house. Now I'm driving Ferraris or top of the line cars, and with an extreme amount of trust, because he's very generous, extremely smart, but don't fuck around. And that would have been the way I would start this incredible relationship with this man. And it was a pain in the ass, that's for sure. I told you, I could have strangled him a million times, but I love him to bits because I realized what he had given me, the chance he had given me. I think he had problems of how can I justify this guy right now on the team from Canada, until Michael Schumacher came along. He came to Maranello at the end that year, tested, and came to see the guys and all this, and everyone knew who he was. And he finished early, looking for the guy who was supposed to bring back to the airport. Where's this guy? I gotta go. I'll bring you again. I have no clue. I don't even know. I know how to drive these roads backwards here, but back then I didn't know. No passport, no license, no nothing. Let's go, buddy. Whatever it takes. So we took off in this little Fiat 24 valvole. It's this little sports car, and he had been there like twice or something like that. And he had remember every road. I'd hang around. But Kimi's like that. They all have this incredible. They do the road once, and they know where they're going. He had the idea of exactly where he was going, and he's gunning this thing, like there was none of this GPS stuff back then, Yeah. And gunning this thing all the way, passing. We didn't have the telepass to pass, backing up. The police is right back there on the highway, zooming pretty quickly, passing another cop car. But, you know, and off we went. We get to the airport, gets off again. Well, I guess there, signed a couple of autographs. And the luck that I had, there was another police squad right there. They came, one guy and asked to take a picture and all this. And so he goes there, goes to the airport, blah, a couple of people, and off I go back. When I came back to Modena Sud, south of Modena, the exit, Modena Sud, we call it, the police was waiting for me. They figured I'd come back here or pass by here, but they were there and take out the pallet, get into the corner, and no papers, no this, no that, and now I don't know what the hell I'm gonna tell them. You know, it wasn't me driving; it was Michael Schumacher. Yeah, and Pamela Anderson is in the hood there in the back. You know, and then it came to me. I go, listen, if you guys don't believe me, call the fucking airport. The guy just came out of the your police squad asked the Carabinieri asked for a picture. I'm not. Finally, it was confirmed that we had drove the car. He had driven the car. Yes, he arrived there with a red car with some other guy, but that would change my day because Michael was complaining to Jean at that point, and not many people in the team spoke English, and now Michael Schumacher knew exactly who I was because, you know, next time I would see him would probably like months later because then Christmas was coming along that year there and again, I stayed here alone all Christmas because I couldn't go back and all this. And the next time you saw me, I'm really sorry for that, blah, blah. Not a problem. I would do it all over again. And now I'm in with Michael, you know, and all this. And then at this point now, I'm more with Jean Todt at Jean Todt's house, you know, and he kept seeing me, he kept doing this. And this would open up the door with this relationship because not everybody was hanging around with Michael Schumacher.
Well, and that's the thing. And you, I think out of anyone on the grid, it's Kimi Räikkönen, it's Michael Schumacher that you probably had the best relationships with in terms of drivers, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, look, I still text Eddie Irvine. We still text each other and send us, you know, we have our little political battles and I love it. You know, smarter guy on the planet than Eddie Irvine, one of the coolest people on the planet. I still text Rubens, Felipe Massa, Kimi, you know, I became godfather of his son, so you can imagine that I
got him written on your
t-shirt. Yeah, well, actually, I put this on after and I left it there because this is actually, we were fooling around, and this is actually a little Aces Räikkönen's signature.
Yeah. And
this was the first time we signed this, and the mother, Mintu, asked me, can you make us one on paper? Because the kid liked it because of the little ace and ended up being his logo on the hats and all that. And now I put on, you guys asked me to put something of Puma on.
Nice. Big up Puma.
And, you know, everything I have of Puma is in red.
Yeah.
And this was on, and I go, well, here, and you told me, you guys, no, leave it at school. So I just end up
It is cool.
So Ace is how old?
10 years old.
10 years old. It's Kimi Räikkönen's son. And we've seen videos, because they're all over your Instagram, he's karting, and he looks fucking quick, and you're the godfather to him.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that come about?
Well, again, you see, like, this is going back to what I was saying. You know, I was very privileged with Jean. When they would come and eat over, I had easy access to these people, to a lot of guys in the team that never went to Jean Todt's house the way I was living there with the guy. And again, Kimi's first steps to come to Ferrari, that was me and Jean Todt in Monza hiding at a corner of the street to go talk to him for the first time.
Right.
The first time I bring a contract, not that I signed a contract, but Ferrari prepared a contract to go sign, was in Monte Carlo. I was off the radar. I mean, if you see Jean Todt walking at 10 o'clock at night knocking at a door, there's something wrong. Or if you see Jean Todt and Kimi together, people would put the match together. I'm the one who brought him there. So again, the privilege of being around there and the first steps, the first guy he speaks to, and you know, first time he came to Maranello, and this incredible friendship would develop. That was the same thing with Felipe Massa. That was the same thing with Charles Leclerc. That was the same thing with, you know, Felipe the first time he arrived in Maranello, and a lot of these guys that I was the first guy there. I mean, you can talk to Mika Salo, talk to a lot of these guys, and you end up hanging around with these guys on a full-time basis. And me and Kimi, obviously Nordic. I come from Canada. He comes from Finland. Obviously, you know, hockey. You know, you drink, I drink. Nordic thing. And,
big drinkers, huh?
Well, I mean, in his heyday, he's one of the best ones. He's definitely one of the best ones I've seen, but he doesn't drink no more. He's a completely different guy. But, you got to go back in time. I mean, this is 20 years ago, whatever that was. We get there, again, we're in Maranello. He's alone. He has no family here. We have no family here. The Jean Todt thing alone, come to Ferrari. We go play ice hockey with him here, with the Italians here nearby. And this incredible friendship grew. And I think, then we went to Lotus. We actually left here the same day, and we came back the exact same day. And at Lotus, and always having his back somewhere along the way. I don't think he has zero interest in politics, zero interest in anything to do apart from the steering wheel, but always trusted me to go do that dirty part of the work, which I excelled in, at Ferrari and all this.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do? Well, you guys were asking me. Well, that's a lot of the stuff I did.
Right. Would you call yourself like a fixer? Is that the right word for it?
Fixture. You guys. What did you guys tell me yesterday night?
You said you were the king. We said you were the boss.
I go with Uncle Gino.
Uncle Gino, cousin Gino,
the CIA,
the mob, the mafia, mafioso.
It's a bit of all of it. I was always very, very thankful, and my heart will always stay at Ferrari for one thing, because they were aware of this guy for years. I was the right-hand man of every team principal you can think, apart from Fred, that I love to work with. Things happened, things went on their own way, but and Ferrari always kept me in this role, this what is he doing role. But the day I write that book, is a lot that happens behind doors. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the business.
It's like a 3-part series, I think, that book. I don't think you'd get it all in one book.
Well, it's funny how you guys, then you made your homework pretty well, and that's why I was attracted to what you guys proposed to do, the interview and all that, because it's a bit hard to explain, and sometimes you don't want to explain, because out of respect for people, out of respect was that, and, we weren't doing anything less or more than anybody else. This is in every team. You saw the way Red Bull one came apart. You saw the way, I think these giants all in Formula One, every team has these conflicts, and every year there are problems. It's part of the sport. It's a small village with a shitload of money, a shitload of egos, and there you go. And and everyone's running for a tip of the iceberg. There's a guy like me in every team, I promise you. I can promise you that,
Yeah.
We weren't doing anything, but sometimes you just, need that guy
who can read around the rules a little bit.
Exactly, a bit that, but I always had official management jobs. The last 10 years at Ferrari, I would have never expected where I came from to where I arrived, but I think the power I've had, you guys were saying yesterday night, someone said you were the most powerful guy at Ferrari. No, I was the guy who definitely had the biggest ears to all these guys. From Todt, Domenicali, to Arriva Bene, to Mattia, Binotto, Camilleri, Marchione, you name it. I could sit down with them at any time of day. And as the experience grew, and as I was always considered that Jean Todt guy, and that definitely helped.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever bullshit anybody. And if I could help, so when there was a problem or somebody trying to get to somebody or talk, well, I was the guy filtering that. I was that guy definitely. And Ferrari, I always felt very privileged that Ferrari gave me that trust, or the people that were there gave me that trust.
Yeah, but I think that's you're being very humble right now. But I think you gain that trust by being a trustworthy person, and like you say, no bullshit, and just being a real deal.
There's a reason why all these helmets here are personally signed to you from all these incredible drivers. They're relationships that you've built over many years.
Yeah.
A lot of these first guys, especially in the last, 10 years, from Kimi coming back here. Well, I know how that story went down when you read the book one day. I can definitely tell you how Charles Leclerc arrived here. He's probably the one hands down I helped the most. Not the only guy there, but you have to understand that every time, especially at Ferrari, something moves, you can imagine I'm not the only guy doing that.
No.
So I laugh at people all the time. I say I'm Mr. 1%. When it's 50-50, I'll make sure it becomes 51-49 if I think it's in the interest of the company. And doing what you've got to do to make sure that, they get inserted. And then they get bigger, and it becomes more politically, all of it becomes more complicated, and you try and guide them through, this whole Ferrari system that is unique to the world. It is a bunch of passionate people, and it really is a family, but there's a certain conduct that you'd expect. We're representing, look, the biggest car brand on the planet. That sounds arrogant, but it is.
For sure.
And there's a certain way of being. There's a certain way. It's not. Nobody's telling you this, but there's a certain, ideology behind mythology, especially of being at Ferrari. Mm-hmm. So when these guys come around, and there's a lot of work to be done behind there because it comes from all angles, And if you can trust me, I'll help you if I can. If I think it's worth it, and then maybe one day you guys can make an episode with Charles and ask him how, before it becomes just my only point of view. But you can ask a lot of these guys, and I'm happy you've named a mention yesterday night when we were eating together, and yeah, you can go ask him how all that went down. But I thought that was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Anyone who looks at your Instagram can tell, because it's littered with photos of you and Charles, you and Kimi, you and fucking pretty much everyone on the grid, and so but all these people look up to you as Uncle Gino. It's not as if you just have a working relationship.
Call me your cousin.
Cousin Gino.
Yeah, there's a reason
because you're only 35 years old.
There's a reason they come and stay here. There's a reason you spend personal time with them. It's not just on track stuff, is it?
No, because there's a big world behind it. I mean, obviously, if I've helped the ones I thought that deserved help, Giovinazzi and Foco were Le Mans winners. Maybe you can go and talk to them and see what they have to say about me. And they have the Biermans, and then the a lot of these.
We know Ollie loves you. We know Gabby loves you. We know, and they're the new era coming through.
Yeah. It's a big animal. A lot of drivers trying to come, and you're trying to do what's right, trying to be the quickest one. A lot of managers are lobbying your ears and constantly, this is the best guy, this is the future guy, and this guy's like this guy, and you just try and for one who would fit Ferrari, for one, I am not the one that's going to take the decision, but I'll help you get there. Mm-hmm. And if it comes down to that 50-50, I might just put in that 1% and get that thing done for you. My job was to go search, find us the right ones, go do that, and maybe a team principal where I would bring, I remember bringing Charles to Arriva Bene the first day, because I heard this, so on and so forth, and Nicholas Studd, his manager, that they were up my ass, which is normal. Like every other manager is trying to push in his driver, but this kid's special and all this, and off we went. The same year we picked up Giuliano Alesi, that's doing an incredible career in Japan. So you try and do what's right. Sometimes it's the political thing to do, not the but you try and push, and then when another 10 found out that, well, he walked in through that door, well, that's a little what you do.
10 more come.
Well, exactly. And then you can imagine, it's, again, you read the book one day, but a lot of these guys, well, if you help me, I'll take care of you. I mean, I was taken care of by Kimi by giving me the biggest respect on the planet, making me Godfather of his son. That says much. It's
amazing.
That's for being correct on a guy that's the most complicated guy and pure soul in Formula One. I'll have your back. I won't be stealing from you. I mean, I think he's at 1,000 cases where, I think we've gotten to where we've gotten because he knows that. And that was the same way with Michael, the same way with Felipe, the same way with a lot of these guys that got that first little bump. I'm not a manager. And I don't think Ferrari would have found it correct for me to, you guys endorse me. I was a guy cleaning the floors here, and to have had this respect that I've had from every team principal, and as they changed, I never did. And to have had this, this trust, I would never want, especially the Ferrari family that I love so dearly, I wouldn't want to break their trust. I would never want you to think that. I did the best I could. This world runs like this. That was part of the job, is how I can participate to help the team. Again, If anybody wants to hear about the Ross Brawn story and how me and Ross did things, well, I turn off the channel, I love Ross, and I'm sure he loves me too, but we definitely did two roles that were different, but it was all one thing,
Would you be able to give us an example of like how you would have helped Charles get that seat at Ferrari?
Oh, it's funny how everyone, once they're on top, they all speak about them. But F4, GP2, GP3, I think the luck that I had is that Sergio Marchionne, being as brilliant as he was, wanted his own Verstappen, and that was the possibility I've had of, well, let's go try and see who can be the next Verstappen. It's cost efficient if they can grow in your team, and versus going to get a guy that you're paying, a shitload of money every year. Mm-hmm. The guy flew in GP3, he flew in GP2. Yeah. That's the more I keep doing what you're doing, and the dots are gonna mix. And when you're special, which he is, the rest. I think my job became a bit easier to start placing. At that point, by the time he hits GP2, all of Ferrari was interested in him. The gamble I took, in all honesty, because Jean Todt and Nicolas Todt had called me, and they were managing this kid, and these guys have a pretty good idea of what's going on here, and they do. If those guys are pushing him so hard, start looking at all this. All right, it's the right thing to do. I brought him in, and we maneuvered. Slowly to bring him into the team, and then bring him to Alfa Romeo. And like I said, it's the rest you can ask him.
Yeah.
But
it's fascinating to hear everything that happens behind the scenes.
It's I had no interest of doing this, but somewhere along the way, I think from Sergio Marchionne's original idea of it's costing us fortunes. We had the driver lineup cost us quite a bit. You imagine with Kimi and Seb, it was quite expensive. For what reason? But his idea, well, if we're finishing second and third, how can we can't have our Verstappen word per word like that? How am I gonna find this guy? How many Max Verstappens are on this planet? We still can't find one today. But okay, the idea is good. Let's try and develop one, and then this kid Charles lit a fire up our ass. Bam, GP2, bam, GP3, gets into it's just when you're special, you're special. Yeah. And I think the road then as slowly as it went forward, the job got easier to do. But by the time GP3, and I have pictures here when he was sitting in my office all the time, and we're looking at GP2 together, and this intensity he had of he knew. These guys know. I guess when you're a Ronaldo or you're a Messi, or you just know. Kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and he would finish the race, and how did I do? What are they saying with this, with that? It's very, very on his toes all the time, And look, you keep doing, and I'll keep going.
When someone like Michael Schumacher joins Ferrari, how does he elevate the team? What does he bring?
Often these questions: who are the best drivers? Who's this? There's so many factors that make a Formula 1 driver the best. And I've worked with them. I work with all of them, so many of them. But then why does it stick? Why does he stick out in particular? And look, every Formula 1 driver on the planet should ask himself that one question, because this is a team member now speaking versus drivers. I can go quick here, I can do this, I can do that. If you were going on a 20-floor story building with all your team, and you say jump, how many would jump? Now I'll leave it at this. If Michael Schumacher would have went on that roof and he would have said jump, all of us would have jumped. Influencing the team, getting everybody on board, how you do that, that's an art in itself. That's point one on the track. And ain't all of it, because I've seen some guys that were incredibly nice people and influence the team, but then obviously when you win, you already influence the team. But then how you go by it, the distractions you have that come with it, and how close you are to the team. Are you generally close to the team, or you're just close to those five guys? Michael had this massive massive ability of doing that. For one, nobody was more generous than Michael Schumacher, for one. And you need to understand when you're a bunch of mechanics earning $6,000-7,000 a month, and you have this guy coming into a car every day earning $100 million or $80 million, or I don't know what the numbers can be or were, but more or similar to those. Well, you've got to make sure these guys are taken care of, not only in many ways. You know, it's a family, and that was his strong ability. He cared about everyone. You know, I would be able to show you 1,000 examples. But I mean, you know, for myself, for everybody, it's genuine. And he hung around with the team, and he came to Maranello. He was with the team, and you know, you lead by example. He led by example, on top of being this giant of a driver. Because I don't use that word giant very much in a driver, but again, Ross Brawn, Jean Todt, and Michael Schumacher, when I went on top of that roof and say we're all jumping, Michael jumped, everybody followed. Everyone who drives a Formula One car, you sit at night and ask yourself that question and say, you know what, how many would actually follow me? And that's your ability of influence a team, because these guys got brains. These guys got, like every driver, you know, you've got your security and security issues and all that, but to walk into a world that's not yours, it's not easy now. You come in there with a bunch of Italians and all this, and these guys eat together, they live together, they're earning the same salary. It's a huge world there. You better get along with them, because you touch one, you touch 20. Michael was also very smart on getting rid of people. And that's where guys like Jean Todt, masterminds in that over there, because, man, I have so much respect for the Toto Wolffs, the Christian Horners, the Zach Brown, Stella, these guys, man. What they're doing is that new generation of guys. Wow, that's on a page in itself. I love Zach, his whole attitude. I mean, all these guys. But to do it at Ferrari, with all its complexities, with all its political environment, with all its mediatic, every step you do has to be very well calculated. Even within the team, within every team. You have egos, you have, you know, how do you make the whole team flow your direction? Well, that's in every other team, not just Ferrari, but it's very difficult here. And this is where Michael, Ross, and Jean. Then, of course, you have the Rory Burns of this world. We can't forget his name, because he was designing the best cars, too. A bit like the Adrian Newey of this world. But how do you orchestrate all this? That's Jean Todt. And Michael was very smart, extremely smart, to do the dirty work that had to be done at times, because certain mechanics didn't work or certain engineers didn't work, in silence. You know, you never heard Michael Schumacher bitch very much on the radio.
Never.
That's something I'm not very a fan of in general, you know. I understand they're heated. I understand it's not easy. I want to use the word fuck and all. I'll leave them alone. You go there. Football players do it. NHL players do it. I don't think anybody, it's lack of education, but you can imagine the adrenaline these people, and sometimes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, it comes out. Yeah. So it's this bullshit. Leave this stuff alone, you know. Let nature take its course. But sometimes it's not easy, but... You know, when any driver on any team starts taking the dirty business out on the radio, then what happens? These guys fly home with their private jets at night. And the day after, guys like me, and we're a team principal of on the spot, and the press and all, and we're overloading that Monday. So it's a big distraction for the team. It's just extra pressure we don't need. And how they ran that between the three of them, Ross is another mastermind. Ross let Jean do his thing. You play defense, I play offense. And how they orchestrated that, because, you know, then they never stepped on each other's toes, and this huge respect, and they all had for another, you know, a guy like Ross. There's another, you know, why does everywhere Ross pass, Ross wins? Because there's not a better mind than his.
Are you talking like just technically, or are you talking across the board?
Across the board.
Yeah.
Look, Forget what I say. Look what he's done.
But he's quite an unassuming man.
But this is
to look at him and with his nature,
This is his great strength. Ross Brawn's great strength that he make a guy like me feel important. That's his strength. When he knew he was our top players. No ego in that man whatsoever. Calm, genuine, big giant of a man, and he knew that.
Yeah,
and that's why everyone loves Ross.
I mean, we had the pleasure to meet him once on the grid. Where was it?
Yeah,
was it Zandvoort?
Yeah, it was.
Zandvoort, and you can't miss him.
No,
because he's up here. He's a big guy, and he doesn't know who we are. But you go up and we said hello, and he shook our hand, and he was a gentleman.
What you see is what you get. The top man. The top man. So when you start orchestrating the brilliance of Jean Todt and how to maneuver, because Michael and I heard it, I'd sit down at a table at Jean's house and that our garden table, we'd call it there, under the tree, and these countless hours of what Michael felt had to be done. Well, then guys like me would get to work. All right, we'll get it done. And then you had these Mairanos there on the other side, and we were very lucky to have a guy like Montezemolo, incredible president, Montezemolo, that left Todd a bit going all these things. I mean, he'd come around and bitch once in a while, but overall, he was never involved. He let you go on with it.
Yeah.
We knew he was there. We knew Montezemolo was there at all times, but get on with it. Yeah. And he did. And I think there's not much you can tell these guys in the first place, but he go. It's very important you don't get too much involved on what happens. So now when you go back to the question of Michael, I think Michael not only was brilliant to do what he did for the team, but also the type of people he chose around that team. And comes to Rory Byrne, another great gentleman, and Ross Brawn. And Jean took his vision and made that vision happen and swarm the biggest storms on the planet to go to where all these three guys wanted somewhere along the way. And, and another thing too, that in that era, you see when you come to work every morning and you're scared, you're under that tension, they don't take out, sometimes that little point two you're looking for. Well, it's right there in the human factor. I never was scared one time to lose my job with Jean Todt. I mean, if I would have fucked up, I would have flew. But that whole, so everyone knew. I mean, once that team was rolled up, you knew you were part of that team. You knew. I wasn't scared of losing my job. I was scared to fuck up, yes, but or through Ross or through Michael or through, you felt protected. You felt, okay, let's go forward.
And that was the same with everyone there in that team at that point.
Exactly. So, you'd make a mistake, and believe it or not, anyone knows Jean Todt. He's one of the funniest guys on the planet. He's a funny man. He'd bug you. He'd make your head like this. Not that you wouldn't get away with it, but, okay, And then in all this, you had Dominicali that, by the time that whole team was rotated there, by the time that 99 team came along, there was Jean. He was the father.
Yeah.
He was, the guy. And you had Ross, if you want, that was the uncle beside. And, as a member, you don't fuck around with these guys. But they were the nicest fucking guys. And you never felt that they were after you. And you fuck up, you'd hear it, I think. But you never hear anybody just get blown away like the second era, where in the last years so many people were gone and like this overnight, and this commotion that was often caused for no reason. But in that era, you never felt that they were. Once that team was in place, okay, let them do their job, let them take sail, and let's see where they land. And this was Michael's, because he was at the end, the driver is the most powerful guy there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then you also got to be very careful not to listen to the driver either. Again, the roles are very important. That's the team principal, that's the driver, that's the technical director, and we got to harmonize. If you start having people talking left, right, and center, it can get a bit confusing. This is where Michael was an ace, and Michael, if Michael has something to say, it's a down with Jean. I've heard it 1,000 times. And how they masterminded, this guy needs to go, but he can't leave now, because if we leave now, they're going to know that it's us. We'll make the dirty work at the end of the year. And then you had 20 guys, because when you touch one guy, you see, if we fuck up, we're gone here. So now you're starting to work like this, and his ability, great human scale ability of keeping that, then having a guy like me walking around the team and making sure everyone's... Todt sometimes would pick up people and go make this guy laugh. I heat him up a little, And you always take it in a communal way.
Yeah.
And there was just this harmony and this incredible united family that I think is the spirit of Ferrari. Because
I think that's the important thing here. I think it's very rare in life that all the stars will align with anything. And I think at that period of time in Ferrari, you had all these heavy hitters, and that's why the team was doing so well. Yeah. And do you think that's probably the reason why Ferrari are where they are today, is because these key members have they've left, have they been removed, or what?
Well, like now, you hear this, Fred Vasseur is on his last kilometers.
Yeah.
Christian Horner is coming to town. I mean,
big rumors about that.
A lot of rumors, yeah. Now, if you ask me if I think Christian Horner could do the job, he can definitely do the job. But here the question is not about who can do the job. The question is, let him do the job.
Yeah.
It's different stories. And I think, in 2008, when, as the Dominicali, when I arrived in my second phase of Ferrari in 2014, that was the biggest mistake. He was the last grand captain of Ferrari. He was. Because you need to see it from where we stood. I know Vietnam, we'll say Ferrari is Vietnam better than anybody on the planet. One of the longest lasting members, and I was always involved in the heavy politics, side by side with the team principals, chairmen, president, call them what you want. I was always had an ear with them, and I know what it is. The first bad drop was to leave Stefano, but if you just take what's going on at Red Bull, what went on at Red Bull. Christian Horner has been there, 16, 17, 18 years, I don't know, make the maths. I'm not a...
Yeah.
But he took them to great heights. I mean, we can thank Helmut Marko and Adrian Newey for that one too, but he's the guy.
Yeah.
No. He's the guy that we talk to in the press. He's the head of that guy.
Yeah, and you can't deny what he's done. Really.
No, absolutely, because it's an art in itself, that too, and all that. Yeah. But after Vettel left, and the problems they had with the engines and all that, I mean, these guys were down the hill. They were behind us in 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't know the dates more or less, but they went. Guess what? Did you see Christian Horner fly off the table? No. Now you take the last 10 years, in the last 11 years here. I arrived in 14. It was Dominicali. Then we had Mattiacci. Then we had Arrivabene. And then we had Binotto. And now we should be talking about Vasseur. This is 5 people in 11, 12 years. From 2014 going forward. Forget what I'm saying. These are facts.
Yeah.
Now, if you see it from internally, there was a big change in 2014. Now, you're questioning about, if you stood in Ferrari, you understood the importance of Stefano Dominicali under Todt's feet, because he balanced it we had a problem, go see Stefano. Shit hit the fan, go see Stefano. And he would know what to tell Todt and what not to tell. Like a big family, Oh, my little brother just broke the window. Well, go see Stefano, and he'll fix it. And how he kept that balance.
Yeah.
How he kept that balance. And Stefano didn't get, the empire by that point. He picked up that empire, when it was shaken. Jean was on other plans. Ross was on other plans. Schumacher's out of there. And he kept that going. And Christ, man, how many times did Stefano nearly win a world championship with Fernando? Man, I would keep that guy for the next 100 years. That's not the way things work here, unfortunately. And then Mattiacci, poor guy, came into a turmoil with different changes. Fine, Marko was a great guy too, but again, him just ended up, I don't know, he was in the right place. He was what he wanted to do. It was just time to change. He stayed there those 7-8 months. And then came Arrivabene. And Arrivabene too did a good job. We did a pretty good stint with Seb. And then Mattia came, and we did a pretty good stint 2 years ago with 4 or 5 races won, and 10 pole positions.
Yeah. We always thought they were great under Binotto.
It's always been a mystery to us why they would ever get rid of Binotto.
So now someone's going to tell me this is bad. We still never had this kind of results from there on. Now rise poor Fred Vasseur, knows it's fucking racing. You know, but now you take away Fred. Now that they seem to be back on track.
Yeah,
on the right route at least.
Exactly. So now, when Binotto was taken off, yeah, you can criticize all the mistakes that were done, and but once you look at all the good things, we were headed in the right direction.
It was going the right way. Yeah,
We were headed in the right way. Everybody had to lift the game up at that point. Pit wall, pit strategy, the drivers, the manager, everybody needed to go. We all got fucked up there was a mistake a bit everywhere. But if as a group we could have grown, who knows what could have happened the year after. Cut Matia's head off because Vietnam goes crazy. This is what it's very important. Because every single time you change one of these things, that whole fucking place becomes a shit show. My office was to be full. Who's our new boss? Who's this? Everyone's worried. Everyone's trying to get the other guy's job or next guy. But this is like any other company. But I'm just talking about, unfortunately, we just can't seem to, in the last years, find stability. And this is where, who's deciding on the stability? You need to keep this guy stable. Leave Fred there another 4 or 5 years. Jean Todt was given 6, 7 years before this thing came off. Because now you take Fred out now, you've lost another 2 or 3 years. They seem to be on the right track. Now, biggest disaster, biggest mistake you could do. Well, let's make a 6th guy go on in 14 years. And all that work is lost, and all that energy is lost, and all this complexity is lost. It's not a football team. So you can't have it with that same approach. Because look at Red Bull. Christian was there for what? And what did he do? Went down the hill, up. They got back their shit together, and they delivered another 4 world championships.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Max, of course. and you know, Toto, and you don't see these guys flying off shelves. They were given a chance, to do this. So at the end of the day, now, when you guys were talking about yesterday night, you think, of course Christian can do a job, but is he the right guy for the right thing? Now you have a Lewis Hamilton who just arrived there, and Fred knows him and all this, and again, that's another question. Why is, man, you got to give this guy a chance. He's walking into this big Ferrari machine, and when you've been working so many years with a team and all this, and you've got to give him a chance to take his place, and it's not going to be done. Different cars, different team, different this, different mentality. He'll find his way, I'm sure. But I mean, all these dynamics, these dimensions take time to work. It isn't so. Yeah, I mean, I think I was telling you yesterday night, I would make Fred president. If it would be me, I would make one president on the GT side and one president on the F1 side, and answering to the top, to the Fiat, the chairman, John Alcan, and whatever. You make those 2 guys do their job, and none of this crisscross stuff. And because it becomes very not that anyone's trying to do any bad intentions, but it's to maybe simplify such a complex environment.
There's almost like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Again, it's a style of management that, what are you going to say? They're stupid. They're still second place. It's still good, but I just think that last step, someone's got to put up their hand and maybe speak the truth a little. And I'm just maybe, I know the mechanism very, very well. Vietnam, I've been there 31 years. And I know it's soldiers, and I know it's politics better than anyone on that planet there, or definitely one of the ones that's going on. So will my voice be heard? Probably not, but, why not try and say the way things are a little, because it is a lot of the truth. So go ahead.
Gino, it's fascinating to hear all the stories from the inside, but we are going to go for dinner. We're actually going to go get some food.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back in about an hour and a half. So at this point, give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in about 2 seconds.
Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Gin Todt, yeah. Wow. And he also has old coffee machine. He's a fucking man. That's all these old coffee
Gino Rosato c'è anche.
Gino on the camera.
No, ma voglio far vedere la verità.
Here he comes. Camera's coming.
Rocco. Run around, yeah.
No.
Big G.
Big G. Allez-y. Nazi, la verità. No. Esteban Gutierrez. La verità, Jarno.
Rocco, fai vedere Rocco.
Rocco si chiama Charles.
Sì, arrivo. Mazzolin, Federico. Oh, arrivo.
Guys, you maybe fucking discovered the hidden jewel where everybody was fucking hiding. The Holy Grail where everyone was fucking hiding in the first place. The second Montana, you guys discovered it. Enjoy it.
Right, so we're back from dinner. Secret spot. Gino hooked us up. Gino, when we found out about you and you reached out and we figured out who you are, it's because you commented on a video about Michael Schumacher and this party that he threw in Japan after he won the title. And your comment was it was about 90% right. Can you shed any light around that story at all?
Yeah, well, if it's 90% right, then maybe the last 10% should be left out. But yeah, it was pretty accurate on what. I don't know where you guys got this information, but it was like so many people talk about Michael this, Michael that. He was not a big. I mean, this is not Kimi Räikkönen here. It's just Michael. One day one. Yeah, the brothers, Joss. These guys can take one for the team. Yeah.
We've heard about Kimi being a bit crazy when he parties as well.
Yeah, what about the day Kimi Räikkönen won the World Championship?
Look, trying to compare Kimi Räikkönen on his heyday, trying to compare Kimi to Schumacher on drinking is like trying to compare Senna to me on driving. It's uncomparable. Kimi is in a league of his own.
So what happened on that day that he won the World Championship?
Well, I mean, like Michael was more of a closed group.
Yeah.
Michael would get those like 8 guys locked in his brother and all this, and it's like, but you know, it was different. But I mean, it was old school, like you guys mentioned in the video. It was pretty much old school stuff. I mean, they were drunk. It was like, you know, these old. It's pretty cool, and it doesn't only go with him. You know, the Brundles, the Coulthards, that whole crowd of people that we drink with, and we were like, you know, like,
Brundle's a big drinker.
Yes, and there are good days. I mean, they never got crazy or anything stupid, but you know, sit at a bar and you know, these guys can drink, but you know, if the day after, like a bit like you said with Michael, they're fully functional, clean, well shaved, perfumed on the ball. Now can you imagine getting pissed drunk with any of these drivers? Now we gotta eat a celery before we're going to work, and we gotta have
IV
almond
drip
milk, and we gotta have this, and we gotta do this, and they're like robots. You know, everything is diet. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and then there's a simulator, and there's this. You know, there's a different breed of drivers, but Kimi, I still, you can talk to anyone on the pod, everything you've heard is real. When Kimi would get to the party, I mean, the fucking party would start dancing. Because like, he ignites. Like a guy that never said a fucking word to you. I mean, and you hear these stories quite a bit everywhere, you know, how the guy wouldn't say a word to you, and all of a sudden he'd speak to you for 3 hours. That's Kimi. And so a lot of guys that never, like, you know, like, and he would just ignite on that way there. And when you come to a party, like, I remember that Red Bull party, that we had one that year there, and went to the Red Bull party, he's dancing on, he can't dance, but he has this Eminem style about him. You know, he's just cool. Yeah. He's funny, not trying to be funny. He's cool, just trying to be cool. And I think what we like of Kimi, he's just generally cool. People try and be cool. Some people are born cool. He's just cool. He's just funny. We're not trying to be funny. He's not trying to amuse people by saying 3 words. But if you hang around with the guy, he's actually a very funny guy. Then if you put a bit of fuel in the fire, he's a fucking funny guy. It's a league of his own.
Coulthard's a menace.
Yeah,
he can drink. Coulthard can drink.
But you never. I mean, name me one bad story.
Never.
And you guys told me yesterday night when we ate, what a nice guy. That's Coulthard, and he can handle that, and that's him. He's old rock stars. This is the Rolling Stones here, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the new generation is not, you know, it's not the same.
But let's talk about Max then, because you and Max have a great relationship, no? And Jos as well. How did that happen? You've known Max for a long time.
Well, I mean, he's coming around when he was young and all this. I think I remember them more than they remember me when they were young. But Jos is a pure thug. Don't fuck around with Jos. He's a pure guy. He's an honest guy. It's old school. And what are you gonna tell him? You did bad. You created the biggest beast on the face of Formula One, or one of them for sure. And we go back to what I was telling you guys. You put shit in the garden, the flowers grow. and he made a gentleman. He made a great driver, but with old work ethics, And you heard Josh, he would leave Max sometimes on the racetrack, racing and all that. I think this is what this world has lost a little now. I think when I see people be parents today, they're just babying all the time. And, what does he need? What does he need? Josh has come from that school. Fucking figure it out. Let's go. You want to be the best? This is what it takes. And then not only that, but not only did he create this phenomenal driver, that giant.
Yeah.
Like I said, I use the word giant very little. But when I say the word giant, is that, But as a person, as nice as a father, then we can say this, Max like this, because Max got pissed off. Max Verstappen is a national. You know what that means? I want to be Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
So it's human nature. When you're on the top, they're all aiming at you. You did this. They're all looking for their particulars. But let's be honest, after Michael, he's been the best driver hands down. But then you see them off track. I'm not getting paid by anybody to say this, but it is what it is. In 32 years in the business, you've seen them all and all this. Some get mixed up. Some of them, they start going on in all directions. Max, it's pure. Max is extremely similar to Kimi. It's a bit more spicy, a bit more open-minded than he is. Kimi will suffer in silence, whereas this one will lash out once in a while. But just generally, I can text Max right now, and he's going to answer me back within 2 minutes. That's the same thing with Joss. These guys don't come there. They're not measuring people on the money you're going to bring me, on this you're going to bring me, and who are you, and you're important and all this. They're not subconsciously playing the game backwards. They're just generally like that. Just pure, nice people doing their job. Great, again, family story with a father helping out a kid, teaching a kid, this is the real world.
So for you, who is the best F1 driver ever?
When drivers talk about our drivers, they just talk about the pure speed about it. Coming from a team point of view and all this, I've never driven. So sometimes you ask a guy like me, but I've never driven at that speed. I don't know what makes the great one. I mean, I have an understanding of it, but I can't drive that way, or I can't.
You're pretty quick in the Jeep earlier.
Yeah, in the Jeep, whatever. But I mean, I go down always one word, Senna, for one simple reason. You name me a driver, or for with Prost 34 years, wherever that was, where every morning you got to wake up with a guy called Alain Prost beside you. Now, if you fuck up, my dear friend, Alain Prost is one of the greats, another great gentleman. He never had that luxury of choosing his driver or having things tailor-made for him. If you modernize what's going on in Michael, what can you say, giant.
King.
And then in this modern era, you have who gets to have the best car. Ask yourself a question. Would Lewis Hamilton been world champion when he had arrived at Ferrari in 2014?
No.
Never. I love Lewis.
He's been provided with very good cars.
And you know what? I don't know the stats about that, but I was hearing this somewhere on Instagram one time. If Lewis Hamilton would have been world champion, the guy who followed him, his partner, his teammate would have been
Bottas.
Bottas, Rosberg.
It was always Rosberg.
Okay, so this is how good the material he was driving.
Yeah.
He's always, and what, it's inevitable. Anyone always talks about him, but he always had the best car. He's always had the best car. And do I really remember him doing something out of the extraordinary when he didn't have the best car? You see, Max was up our ass in 2014, 15 with garbage cans in his hand, and he was still there finding a way to fight. You can't take away. You look at Lewis's numbers. Another one you got to put in a giant field. But he's definitely had a lot of fucking good cars.
Yeah.
That definitely helps the case. You look at, they've all had best cars sooner or later.
Sure.
Every single one of them. But nobody's had them in that quantities. You take a guy like Alonso. I mean, if you ask me, a guy with Alonso with those cars, fucking put the track on fire. Now, am I the greatest fan of Alonso in a team? No, that's part of being a great driver. This is where maybe Michael was, Michael on the package. And let's remember, anybody who does this at Ferrari is 30% harder than anywhere else. And to have the balls to come to Ferrari in the conditions it was in, and to have got that job done, well, let's see. Everyone else who tried never succeeded. But Michael got that done. That's your homework off track.
On the topic of Lewis, we were chatting earlier off camera about his dad, Anthony Hamilton, and you had the nicest things to say about him.
If I would have to say the 10, 15 nicest people I've ever met, anyone who met Anthony Hamilton is one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And you saw it, the class he had when Max won that controversial year that he won.
Yeah.
Who was the first guy to go shake hands to Max's father? Takes balls, huh? Your son is destroyed. But destroyed, poor guy. He had won 7 world champions, destroyed. Max is the new world champ.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse. What Lewis did, hats off,
Yeah.
But it's years I know him, and I've met him through parties and all this. You couldn't get a nicer guy. And look, I think that gesture goes to show, just out of respect, father to father. I think it was more beautiful than the entire ending of it.
Talking about father and son, then. So we have Lawrence and we have Lance.
There's been a lot of talk about Lance.
Yeah, well, okay. So this is another one that is a bit of a piss off in a way that, okay. So now we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to what the same bullshit people always talk. Okay, Lance Stroll arrived there because he had money. Name me one Formula One driver that's never arrived there because he had money, or through a manager, or through a sponsor, or through a team.
You don't even get to F3 without money.
Okay,
F4 without money.
So can we get that? If we all agree on this one, can we just drop the wallet thing 1 second? Okay. So that if we agree on that one there, that everybody needs money to get there. Now, Canada is maybe not the best place with 30 million people at that time when he arrived there to find sponsors and money. And okay, the father's the money. Let's put him there. Oh my God, but he also had the best material when he was go-karting and all that. What kind of manager, and I've met them all, doesn't want the best material or for your son or for your talent?
Of course.
Yeah, well, if we all agree on that one, so then he did all the ranks. He fought where he had to go to. Now, but his father wants to help him. Oh, really? You put your son face to face with Felipe Massa, Vettel, and Alonso, and you want to help this guy?
Yeah.
Like, you imagine this poor guy every weekend going to the racetrack with all this bullshit that's being said. And
But don't you think Lance would have had a say in the teammates that he has? His dad literally owns the team. Surely he would have sat him down and gone, "Son, do you want to be teammates?"
Exactly.
With
So
Alonso?"
if then why are people saying he's trying to help him? You name me other drivers that had a good time with Vettel, Alonso, Massa. I mean, these guys are huge front runners.
Yeah.
You go face to face with Alonso every
You learn
weekend,
from him.
or Vettel. You learn from them, but I mean, mentally, this poor guy. I mean, imagine fighting Mike Tyson every weekend.
He hasn't made it easy for his son. He's
Exactly.
He's
It's
given
all the
competition.
contrary. I think it's all the
And now
contrary.
he's given him Adrian Newey.
I mean, yeah. Well, exactly. Then again, you see, everyone was after Adrian Newey.
So why do you think Lawrence got him?
Well, I think he had the possibility of going where he wanted. Then I came pretty close. No, again,
Not about money?
it's pretty cool because it's written all over the place. I'm probably hands-on the guy who came the closest to bringing Adrian Newey to Ferrari. And
Okay.
it's not about the money. I promise you.
So why didn't that happen?
Well, that's for him to answer. I know why. I have a huge respect for him. He's a person I call a friend, and I love Adrian Newey,
He's incredible.
another
What he's
giant
able to
and
do.
nicest people you've ever meet on your planet. I mean, he'll give you a time of day. He's not playing that game. He's just, I'm number one, genius in all senses. And let's be honest, if you look at the last 30 years, Ross Brawn, Adrian Newey, yeah. And there's a couple of guys in between. I text Adrian Newey, he'll text me right back, and I got a nice friendship off track with him and even on track. You're standing there, "Hey Jim, I got an idea for you." "Oh, okay, Gino, you tell me." He's a nicer man and his wife. So lovely people, really lovely people.
Adrian Newey left Red Bull. Christian Horner left Red Bull. Jonathan Wheatley, they're all gone. Laura Meckies, he's now head of Red Bull. Is he the guy for Red Bull?
I mean, you're talking about all fucking big names, Jonathan. John is another guy I call a friend. Beast of a number of beasts. We were together in Montreal and just asking, I won 14 world championship, and I always feel proud about that one. I think he's won like 20. This is a crazy amount. This guy, whatever. But so Jonathan knows his shit, and I think Jonathan, it was his time to go lead as a team principal and together with Mattia Binotto and all this. I mean, these guys are good. The both of them excellent. That was a big loss. Adrian Newey, I can't speak for him, but I think huge political environments don't fit him very well. That could be one of the problems. And Christian, it was time to go. I don't know what happened there, and it's not really none of my business of what really happened and all that propaganda. But if someone decided to send him home, I don't know. Like, what are you going to tell Christian Horner? He's done an incredible job. Now, again, when people leave, now all of a sudden everyone drops the load on them. But all respects, he's done a lot well. But sometimes these dynamics change. We had this at Ferrari. We had this. Every team comes apart. I think every empire sooner or later starts falling apart. We had this at Ferrari. We had this at Red Bull. We had this at, Ron Dennis is not here no more. All these big names sooner or later. We have Flavio. But I love Flavio. Flavio Briatore is again.
We love Flavio.
We
would love Flavio on the
She's
pod.
one of the. You know who won? You guys were probably you're still in your dad's sacks when Flavio Briatore was making deals. It's the truth, But
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of the fact is, who put, Ross Brawn, took Rory Byrne back
On the map.
went to court with. They were good names already in the sport. But they were there. But how he made that magic, he went to court with Jordan to get Schumacher together and blah 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 and put all that thing together, and off he goes and win.
Flav's a man. Flav's a man.
Nicest models on the planet, and
I don't think there's many people that could do what Flav has done.
And again, he's a huge human being. On again, because I was never a team principal. I was never one of those, I would have never fitted that role.
Would you ever want to be?
No.
Not in the slightest.
I'm fully conscious that the roles I played at Ferrari
Behind.
top management, but I'm not the guy who's going to read contracts all day long and have interviews all day long and work 14 hours a day. It's not my thing. I'm honest about it, and sometimes it's better you being a great defenseman than pretending to be Ronaldo and you can't jump as high as. These guys are special breeds. Team principal guys, they're special breeds.
Stick Ayrton Senna, stick Mansell, stick Prost in a 2025 F1 car. How do they compare to the current drivers? Can they hold up?
I think so. I think they probably run circle. You talk to Kimi, you talk to Seb, people that I've spoken to, talk to Fernando. Not that I speak to Fernando, it's not one of these guys I speak the most to, but you heard him say it. The cars have never been so easier to drive.
Yeah.
Okay, big cars, heavy cars. We watched the race today, and 3 centimeters of rain, and oh my God, we gotta get off. But can you blame them? These cars are big, they're heavy, they're long. It's changed. The rules are tighter. The security awareness is different. It's changed. It's just the way it is. But I don't see any of these guys having hard times. Senna.
Different breed.
I think Senna is Senna.
Greatest of all time?
Senna.
Better than Michael?
It's a tinsy-wincy, because, again, he never had the luxury of having, again, the championships he had to lose is because he had a guy called Prost.
Yeah.
Beside him, he was never handed. He never had these. And again, like I always say, the great ones, the phenomenal ones, the Giants League. The phenomenons. When the car is not right, they'll make it right.
Find the difference.
You see Max now on this, because we speak in this modern age. This guy's had 2 years where he had really dominant cars. All the rest you have to figure out. And fuck is he figured out again now. They'll make a difference. Then, if you have the best car, and the minute you have a car that's so-so, and, well, that tends to follow.
So do you think Max stays at Red Bull? There's a lot of rumours going around.
Knowing the loyalty that the father and son have, I think they've done a lot with Red Bull. Today, where do you go? Or you're going to McLaren, or you're juggling teams. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I would imagine there's a good chance they're going to stay there. The rest, the questions you got to ask them. But I would imagine out of what I think, this is what they're going to do. Where else are you going to go? From here, you don't have to start ground up. We were talking about Laurent Mekies before you asked me. Laurent Mekies in the exact same position Dominicali was after the Empire started falling. I mean, Laurent is a top 15 people I've worked with competitor-wise.
Wow.
Laurent is there.
Wow.
You probably won't love me saying this, but I've been telling him all along. He's a brilliant guy, calm. He knows his shit.
Yeah.
And he's been to the FIA, he's been to Ferrari. You couldn't get a better guy, a gentleman. I mean, he can do the job. But now it's not easy. You're coming off, where's Adrian Newey? Yeah. And where's that team now that you're picking up in pieces? This might not just happen overnight. I think, that they've got a great base. But sometimes, we saw it in the case with Ferrari, the minute Ross left and Rory Byrne and semi-retired and all this thing was starting to fall apart, arrived Stefano to pick up the team. Not easy. Not easy. And they still kept the shit going. And they fought, the last of the grand giants management, to keep that team going. It's their hardest positions. When everything was perfect and now you're the guy trying to keep this thing up there, you can only be criticized. It's not an easy job.
We love Ferrari. Amazing atmosphere. But we're very aware that, being part of Ferrari, it's almost so much harder than any other of the teams. It's such a bigger project. But, what makes it that?
For one, the Ferrari DNA, that this whole... It is really a family. It is something very special. I mean, there's no one like it. Then, it's like I always tell you guys are English. Well, you're English. Yeah. Are you Mercedes fans?
No. Wow. We like all the teams.
I know what I mean. But
everyone.
why aren't you Mercedes fans if you know that 90% of the Mercedes team is in England?
Well, we do love George Russell, to be fair.
Yeah, great guy.
007.
Great guy. 007.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Forza's Ferrari,
Exactly. But what was Mercedes' team called before it was called Mercedes?
McLaren Mercedes.
No. It was called...
Mercedes AMG Pretentious.
Brawn GP. It was called
Brawn.
Honda. It was called, BAR. And it's built in England. And, it's... What is... You don't see that, the Germans, I think, appreciate this whole Mercedes things, but is it really a Mercedes? You see what I'm saying? It's built in England, it's designed in England. 90% of it, 90 plus is all made in England, based in England. And you bought a team that was called ABC before you, and now it's called Mercedes. So this ain't the Mercedes that we're talking about from the 50s that walked out of Germany. Mm-hmm. No. And that goes with a lot of the teams. Yeah. McLaren I like because McLaren is a pure breed team.
They've been there from the beginning.
Yeah, it's been there from the beginning.
Same
and
with
it's
Williams,
it's a pure but Ferrari are the only one who take the big risks within building their own engine. And you've never had a Ferrari F1 come out of any other place but Maranello. So you can imagine, it's 75 years now, what are they going into 80 years, whatever, of just dog breathing or car breathing, the families, the what surrounds Maranello. This is an original
Italian.
team. It's
Italian.
Italian. It's a pure team. It's a pure breed team. There's something maybe going wrong somewhere because in the last 20 years we haven't hit a home run. We come close, but not close enough. Okay, and that we're not talking about. It's not that Ferrari is building, a car that's a second off, or they don't show up to the racetracks, or people are falling over each other. No, that's not what's happening. It's that little last limit that they have, and I think one of the, one thing is, I always said, that it was pretty cool because when I moved to Lotus and I worked with an English team and all that, it was 70% work and 30% politics. Maranello is not an easy place for any employee. It's sometimes you have to climb up to 60% politics and 40% work. It's very, very, very not an easy environment. And I think if you look, what went on in the past to now, because I live that in one way and I live this in another way. I mean, the intentions are good because everyone's devoted to it and all this, but there's some fine tuning that seems to put this pressure on them. I don't think they want to put pressure, but you're indirectly putting pressure. You see what I'm saying? When a president or a chairman or whatever comes to a racetrack for 3 days, I mean, don't think the whole team is running around you. You're distracted. And these things I've lived over and over and over. Montezemolo is Montezemolo. I mean, he understood the fucking sport. He come, helicopter, do a bit of screaming or do whatever you want, but he knew what he want. And he stayed away. Montezemolo, on a daily basis, would come Monday mornings to do the debriefing with the team. But if you needed Montezemolo, he was there. And what he had to do as a president was done. But he stayed away from it. Let the guys do their job. Let the guys... He understood this. He had been a team principal himself. He had been... And as much as... the second phase of Montezemolo, as I think the top management that changed, felt... a guy like Marchione, that I love, Sergio Marchione, to bits, but he got involved a bit too much.
Yeah.
And not because you're a great financey guy, that you're actually going to be doing... you need to stay away. So now when you goes back and asked me yesterday, you think Christian is going to come and arrive? The biggest mistake you could do right now is send home Vasseur. He's in second place right now, and they're not that far behind. All you would need right now is kick him out and bring another guy there, and there's another 2-3 years lost. And if you do that, if you change 5 guys in the last 14 years, you make the maths, it takes you 2 years to get back. So then we're right back at square one. Arrivabene came close, out. Binotto came very close, out. Domenicali. What kind of idiot would I kicked out Domenicali in 2014 because things weren't going good? He was the last great emperor of the dream team. And Alonso came twice an inch away from winning a championship. Not with a great car, but Stefano brought that.
Well, it's pretty obvious to me, Gino. They need you back.
No.
F1 needs you back.
You guys...
Let's cut the bullshit. F1 needs you back.
Would you come back?
Would I come back full-time? I don't think I will come back full-time.
Would you come back on a part-time basis?
Maybe, who knows what the world would bring, but I mean, it's I came back a second time at Ferrari. That was a miracle shot coming back there a second time and all this, but like I told you guys before, I can't stay attached for the rest of my life on a dream I had. I was 15, 16 years old.
You're young, brother.
You're young, but
you're halfway through your life.
I arrived there when I was 19 years old. I've never done anything else. That's all I've ever done. I'm very thankful, very grateful. I mean, I'm a grateful person on the planet, Ferrari. I can go to bed at night in peace, and it's what it is, and it's not.
But there's life in the old dog yet. I can see it. I can feel it.
I mean, again, if I would do something where my heart beats, where I feel I've got to go in the field and run for something, then I would never say no. But it needs to be really interesting because it's not at my age now that I'm not old. But I'm old in the business. Yeah, I started at 19 years old. I've never
experienced.
Experienced. But I mean, it's there's more in life than Formula One, and I'm living.
Is that?
Yeah, there is.
And 24 races is a lot.
It is a lot. 24 races.
And I'm living my life maybe according to the way I when you imagine now doing 24 races a year and tests and all this, you have no more life. This becomes your life.
Yeah.
And it's been part of my life. I had to walk away from home, stay away from, leave everything to live this world. And I'm the most thankful person on the planet to have the possibility to have done that. But sometimes, you just, it's just better to leave things. You're not the same guy you were 30 years ago. And who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll become the biggest boss guy and put you guys out of business. Who knows? Who knows what happens?
Yeah, but, let me tell you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Gino, you stay to your job and we'll stay to ours.
Yeah, no. You guys can't be beat. But look, I got this. This could be an interesting project.
Yeah, for sure.
Would love Ace on the show.
Yeah.
Brother, I want to say, we're going to wrap this up because it's 1 a.m.
Yeah, and we've got to drive 15 hours back to London
I
tomorrow.
want to say the hospitality's been unbelievable. You've looked after us. You've been kind. You've been a gentleman. You've been unbelievable. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart for having us here in Italy. It's been a pleasure, man.
Well, thank you. Honestly, sorry if I came off as if I didn't feel like it was just a choice to do that, but you guys were chosen because, like I said, you're fun guys, and you came across that, and then you were up my ass for the longest times in a genuine way, and I'm, the world has changed, and you guys are front runners of what's coming, and I really appreciate all you've done, and it's an honor for me that your generation still wants to hear, about some lost soldier there in the back of Formula One, and it's the greatest story, but if you can motivate somebody to get off their ass and go for their own shots, go for it. So thank you guys for coming, and thank you so much for driving 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 miles, wherever that was, to come to see me, and we're so grateful. Honestly, thank you so much.
Any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Gino, thank you so much, mate. Legend. Appreciate it.
Thank
We'll have to do a part 2 because there's so many stories.
We'll do the part Rocky, part 2, Rocky, part 3. I gotta say, you guys are party animals.
Yeah.
In the league of your own.
I say you just make really, really nice wine.
Well, thank you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
We'll say thank you to Jarno.
Yeah, because there's a bottle here on the table.
I'm happy you guys enjoyed the wine, because we actually put our heart into it, and this project that was started 20 years ago in Abruzzo, the region where I'm from, where my dad was from, and Lucio, Jarno, this guy's in Potere Castorani. Check it out. Look at all that's been done there. It's fabulous vineyard canteens. The whole infrastructure is phenomenal. They did an incredible job, and it turned out very well. And I'm happy you guys like the Jarno wine. So
is that
sure we'll send you bottles.
Yeah. Oh fuck, please.
Well, actually, with some bottles with you guys, I don't know if they're gonna work good, but cases maybe.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Felipe Massa?
Felipe is another person he's a friend. Felipe is one of the nicest people. Him, his family, one of the nicest people you're ever going to work with. And I met Felipe also when he arrived in Maranello as a test driver, hanging around with him, sleeping over. Again, that same scenario where he was with Todd's place often, and we created this incredible friendship, and he's definitely one of these Ferrari soldiers that, he did a lot for the company. You remember the accident? I mean, he's 2008 world champion in my head. It won't be written in papers, but he was robbed of a world championship, and stuck his head down, continued, and big accident he had
with the spring and the helmet.
He didn't get lucky in that span of a couple of months. Everything just but got back on his feet. Never a guy who made too many politics. Just a very, very, very nice guy. And you can talk to anybody. Everyone loves him so dearly. He's a really, really nice guy, and a rocket.
That 2008 championship, the clip online, everyone's seen it. It's iconic, and everyone's going mental, and you're down there in the front, going crazy. How do you navigate a situation like that when everyone's so high and then it comes crashing down?
I always said it. I got criticized so much for when I did that. You need to understand. I had won 14 world championships at that point. We had won, me personally, with the constructors and the drivers. So you got pretty used to raising your hand. You had never been defeated in that way. I never had lived that. But I always said that was the final straw of the empire. The great empire. That day there, it took us quite a while to recover. It never recovered. That was the final grand year. Like that. Of that empire, I think everyone, you cycle. I still think about it. You I would add another one. Nowadays it looks like all of a dream just to have won. But that was like everybody that was there. From that high to that extreme low. I had so much sympathy for when I saw it happen to the people at Mercedes with Lewis and seeing Toto there in despair and all this, I know what that feels like in that last. Then it's the way things go. You got to accept it, but the empire, with its last great, Stefano was the team principal, the last great emperor, and the empire dropped there in my head. We never got back on our feet for years. Maybe later on with Fernando, they came close to rebuilding that magic. But again, when you finish second, you ain't finishing first. So but that was Felipe's race, and then obviously the controversy that how we didn't have those points to finalize that championship. That was something very bitter, but it is what it is, and it's a time ago. But Felipe in my head, the 2008 world champion.
Is he trying to sort it out in court at the moment?
He is, I think. They looked into it.
Do you think there's any chance?
I don't know. I mean, it happened a long time ago. It's not, who knows? But I've never seen anybody. I rarely see any world championship be rewinded. So
no.
The probabilities are that it was the way it was, and I think penalties were handed out to the people in the past, and that's it. You move on with it. But I think for Felipe it would be something very important, and we'll see what happens. I've spoken so much about it, and I was behind him, like I think everybody in that team. But then, where's it gonna end up? We don't know. I don't know. He probably knows, but I don't know. One of the hard moments also for Felipe is to lose. I've lost the championship in Brazil at his home race.
Right. Yeah.
Where you can imagine for a Brazilian winning the Brazilian race, there's such a huge following. The Brazilians are amazing Formula One drivers, and if you're from Brazil and to have lost the championship in that way in front of his own crowd, heartbreaker.
Yeah.
We had lived this through Rubens Barrichello. When you go to Brazil, as Ferrari and one of your guys, I mean, Rubens Barrichello, I remember were years we couldn't hear ourselves talk in the garage as much as the crowd. Rubinho, Rubinho. It's a very, very special place. People don't notice about Rubens Barrichello, but he has 5 constructors with Ferrari.
Yeah.
He's the driver who helped win 5 constructors.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the name. He had an incredible run. So Brazil, had embraced this big Ferrari. What we were doing. I mean, as the Ferrari empire at that time, if you want to call it. And he was the front runner with Michael.
He's another great driver.
Talk about those companions up your ass. Well, Rubens pushed Michael off. He was a very quick driver. Not all these guys that never got lucky and whatever, and one of the nicest people on the planet. You can see, you guys see what he does with his kids, and they say, he won the NASCAR series in Brazil last year.
He did.
Yeah, and they're all the whole family of nuts. All his 2 kids. That's all they do is racing all weekend. You go on their Instagram. They're always, you can see they're racing. 2 great boys, really nice kids. His father, great guy, and he's still, I don't know how old he is now, but he's still in the car and kicking young ass,
That is Michael Schumacher's helmet, right?
Yeah.
Can I grab it quick?
Go ahead.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
I want to know the exact story.
I'd be lying if I tell you the exact story, but I can remember him giving it to me like it was yesterday, but I don't remember, you have to understand, when you do, I did how many races, 100 past races with a guy. I can't remember every day,
Do you know what year it is?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
There is not a chance in hell I could ever get my head in that. every single driver's helmet is so small.
Yeah, he had a very small head. Big brain, but small head.
Big brain, yeah.
It's not something easy to. He doesn't fit in. My nephew sat into it once, but he was small.
Yeah.
But you don't.
So he wore this in races.
Yeah.
I just need to give it a whiff.
Well, you have a whiff
it smells. It smells like it smells like success.
You can have a whiff at Gutierrez. You can have a whiff at and we can't see the other helmets here in the back, but there's Jean Todt, Jarno Trulli,
yeah,
Vern, Genet.
And how do you come by stuff like this? Because I don't understand that a F1 driver would just give away a trophy like
A
that.
Monaco trophy as well.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Kimi Räikkönen. I mean, if it was a first place drive, he'd keep it. But all these
What's this? A second or
third, I think I don't know.
third?
Maybe on the bottom.
2017 F1. No,
Actually, it doesn't say first.
Under
second, or
it,
third.
behind, under it.
got the old logo on it there.
It's funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, second place, third. I think if it was, it definitely wasn't the win.
But if it wasn't a first, he wouldn't have kept
If
it.
for that one he kept his trophy, but he's not. He's not one of those guys. You know, he gave out 40, 50 suits one year, so we left basically, and we had a whole box of suits that stayed at Ferrari, that I was supposed to go recuperate, but then I ended up flying off to Lotus 2, and then I was away from Maranello. The Botas were, and the guys at Maranello kindly had kept all this stuff from the past, helmets and things like this. And when he realized it at the end of 2014 or something like that, now he has another 20 suits, and then the suits from the past. So he took all the mechanics, one by one, signed them, and gave them. You know, you have hard times asking a driver for a helmet or a suit now. It's like, you know, but that's Kimi to you. You know, that was his way in being generous to the team, and guys freaked out. I mean, you know, everyone dreams of having a suit or gloves or whatever is associated to the drivers. You know? And yeah, that was pretty cool what he did there. 40, 50 people, one by one.
Unreal.
Signed. He's not really attached to the stuff. Not the trophies, not the one back there is his too. And that's it. He never really, you know, first place, yes, but all the rest, insignificant. That's, you know, the purity of how much, just give me the steering. You know, when you see that, I just want to race. Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty much what it was for him. All the rest, the glitter, the glamour, no interest.
We know a lot of the drivers come to Italy to see you. I mean, we've literally got Vettel here, loads of stuff.
Yeah.
But what made working with Sebastian Vettel so special? And how did that start? Do you remember the early days when you
know,
came right in?
Who do you replace Fernando Alonso with? There was not many people on that grid apart from, you know, or Lewis or Seb. You know, and Ferrari at that point I chose Seb, and I think, you know, with a bunch for the older guys that were in the team, it was a bit like, let's try and rebuild that second phase German world champion come to Ferrari, but like Michael was. He's a huge Michael fan. A lot of similarities. They were compared very often. When he arrived here, being what I was for Michael, and maybe one of the last ones of me, Mattia, Binotto, not many of these older guys that, so he sort of gravitated to us. And through me, I think a lot was trying to find this information of what Michael had done, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you just can't emulate all of it. We did the best we could. He did the best he could, but, you know, it didn't work out.
You see the everything that Seb's doing away from the track now. Remember the bees and all the, you know, the charity stuff that he does, and he seems like the sweetest bloke in the world. And then as soon as he puts that helmet on, it's like a different animal.
They're all like that. I've never met one that you know. Kimi's actually a gentleman on track. When's the last time you saw Kimi have a big controversy on track? You never, you know, he was what you see. Even the car, if he felt he's wasting time up your ass, or no point. I'm losing a second a lap here. No point to try and get an accident. He was smart in that way there. But you take all of them, you know. Kimi's a nice guy, but Kimi on a good day with a good car, or maybe Felipe, maybe Rubens. That's, you know, that was a funny guy. Eddie Irvine, any of these guys that I've seen. I mean, once the helmet is on, it's like they wouldn't have gotten to where they wouldn't have gotten in the first place if they were just not that way, you know.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell us one of the best deals that you ever did in the paddock? Is there any moment or day that something happened, you did something that was just genius?
I wish I could go in a lot more in detail of certain things, but out of respect
For sure.
of the people and the company, I told you guys, you know, I don't mind telling you stories and explain a little, you know, because you guys were so curious to know what I did, but I explained it without going into detail, and that's out of respect for, you know, for everybody I worked with, for this great chance Ferrari gave me. And I'm not going to sit here blasting the current situation. Actually, I made it pretty clear on how I support what they're doing. I've sat there. I know how hard it is. I know how. So I love every single guy there. I work with these people all my life, so I can hope for the whole team to do good. And I set my record straight on what I would do with Fred and what I think of it. So, let's hope that someone's listening, because I think they're on a good path. So, McLaren is the ones to get. Zach, Stella.
Do you think McLaren just got it really, really right then?
McLaren, what are you going to tell them? Podomu, Stella, Zach. And I like Zach. This whole F1 thing has been to a big transition in the last 10 years. Now it's a lot more Americanized. The Americans came in, and the flow is different. They added to the culture. I think they brought it into the future, or else, like we were saying yesterday, guys like you would be out of a job. But they taking on board the social media, taking on board this, which has become the biggest voice right now on the planet by far, and they were able to bring this into the future. Stefano, Liberty Media, all did a phenomenal job and bring it. Where the sport is very healthy. What are we gonna say? I don't like this. I don't like that. The sport has never been as healthy as it is right now. Netflix, genius. Call it what you want. When you're winning, you're doing something right. Zach is one of those guys that fits in this modern Formula One. He's, he comes from that American. Hey, you beat me today. Good for you. Straightforward on what he thinks. Built himself a phenomenal team with 2 phenomenal drivers, Norris and Piastri. What are you going to tell them? If it's not one day, it's the other day. And Stella, that I worked with for 15 years, that was Kimi Räikkönen's race engineer, and that is a dear friend. I mean, he goes on that top 15 list of talented people I've seen. What makes a great race engineer is exactly what he is, and great engineer, but also a great human, a bit like Ross was. He's a great engineer, but also understand great human dynamics. When you mix that together, well, you got a guy like that. He's very, very brilliant with people, very kind, very, and can flow around. Versus, I'm the engineer doing the job, and you're the guy there at the back. You have some of these guys in this planet, but and he comes from that Ross Brawn school, the same way. The guy I haven't spoken about is James Allison. These guys are the new guns, if you want. James, if anyone has ever met James Allison, if you guys are on track one day and go see him, go shake his hand, and you'll say, wow, what a really nice guy.
It's amazing how many of these top names, top people, all came from the early days of Ferrari.
I was just about to say
all that core at Ferrari have now gone and spread through the sport. But these are the top names.
Yeah, these are Laurent Mekies, Stella, all people that came. I mean, Laurent wasn't part of the heyday, but in the dream team, if you want to call it, a lot of these guys right now are running shows. Technical director of Mercedes, the CEO of F1, Domenicali, Stella, Mattia Binotto. I'm sure I must be missing some of these guys. Roberto Dalla. All these guys are head of communication, Colayanni, because he was in, all these guys. We all found, I think, we all did something pretty good after. And that's all thanks to the work that was done, what we had learned. Would it be a dream? Would it be a dream to rebuild a team like that? Everyone's trying.
How does the brilliance of Ross Brawn start at the beginning of a design? Like, does he walk into a room with a load of papers and go, here you go?
A name that we don't mention is Rory Byrne. Rory Byrne has designed maybe, 8, 10 World Championship cars. He would be more the direct competitor of an Adrian Newey. Another great guy. But it would be between those two as far as design goes. Ross is not on the drawing table. Ross built a technical team. Ross will send the whole team in a certain direction. If there's something great to be done, Uncle Ross will figure it out. And who to put the right people in place, and also have a huge understanding, don't get me wrong, a huge understanding overall of what's going on. And then to put that package together, I mean, come on, Benetton, Ferrari. He leaves Ferrari and builds his own team. 2 years later, Brawn GP are there with and then he goes to Mercedes. He never was able to lift that cup because he left. I think it was the beginning of 2014, but he had done all the work.
Yeah.
Call Toto Wolff. You know, if I would have to invest with anybody on this planet, Toto Wolff for sure would be one of the guys. You know, brilliant business mind. Not only he's a very smart guy, but you know, to have the intuition. Okay, well, let's go in this direction and move the project forward. You know, he invested in this team, and he invested a lot of himself in this team. But you know, call him an idiot. I mean, I would invest in a Ross Brawn project tomorrow morning.
Well, Gino, again, a second outro because we signed it off last night. But man, just to say thanks again, because it's been a pleasure to hear all the stories, and I hope the people at home love watching this.
Well, thank you guys for doing that long ride, and again, excuse myself that I took so much time to answer and didn't want to come out and see you guys, but for whatever my reasons are my reasons. But thank you for doing the trip. You know, you guys are fucking two madmen, but really, really nice guys. Funny, good, and you know, wouldn't be surprised if you become the biggest show on the planet one day. Go for it.
Amen to that.
Yeah. We'll leave you with that. Everyone go follow Gino on Instagram. There'll be a link down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Laters.
You guys are fucking number one.
Oh.